Men, are you this guy? Mr. Bad Genetics. I'm just getting old, I've just got bad genetics, haven't I? Somebody who has an increased size of sandbags, has a larger than life piss tank which overhangs his belt buckle, low muscle mass, a very sad face, poor energy levels, joint soreness, erectile dysfunction, a few other bits to do with sex life, an ever increasing body fat percentage, poor cognition or a slowly diminishing cognition, a real struggle to increase muscle mass, hair loss. Are you looking in the mirror, looking at your hair and considering a trip to Turkey? Gentlemen, this video is about testosterone, and my promise to you is that if you give this video your full attention, you will understand whether you have some of the key signs in those individuals that have low testosterone. Opposing that, what it looks like to have high testosterone, what actually testosterone does for men, why people take it, and the 4 main things that people do for decades that absolutely destroy your testosterone. And they destroy your testosterone levels to such an extent that it completely flips your testosterone to estrogen ratios. And what that means is when them hormones are flipped, you are very similar with regards to them 2 hormones, similar to a woman. I'm not going to harp on why it's important because I've just explained why it's important. Men, our life force, our motivation, our determination, our will to take action comes from an optimized testosterone level. Without testosterone, we literally want to stay in bed all day. And we look at ourselves in the mirror and all we see is a fat, diminishing, miserable body. But our fixed mindset doesn't allow us to see that this is not permanent. Who the hell am I and why you should listen? My name is Paul Green and I'm a former British paratrooper and Special Forces Support Group operator. I spent most of my time over the past decade physically training some of the most elite individuals across British defence, including the Paras, the Royal Marines and the RAF. I have not only trained them, I have also worked with some of the most testosterone-fueled teams and environments in some of the most high-pressure situations. I know what it looks like when men have insanely high testosterone levels, and I also know what it looks like when men have really low testosterone levels. Men, this is not permanent. And like I said earlier on, my promise to you is give you an understanding and an awareness and give you some actionable points to make you make these changes. So what is testosterone? Like I touched on earlier on, testosterone is the male sex hormone that is produced in the testicles. The misconception with testosterone is that men with high testosterone are extremely sexually active, sexual deviants, sex pests, aggressive. There is a bad stigma that surrounds the word testosterone, and it couldn't be further from the truth. Some people call it a war on masculinity. However, us men still need to make the mistakes for this war on masculinity to be effective. So why do people take it synthetically? Well, Men take testosterone synthetically because it alleviates some of these issues almost instantaneously. However, it is just putting a plaster over some serious issues within their lifestyle. Some serious issues that are not going to get rectified with synthetic hormones being added to an already shit lifestyle. So clearly, taking steroids, taking testosterone has its appeal. But, like I said, it's only appealing to men that want the quick fix, and it doesn't even fix the things that you're looking for it to fix, because you still train like a bag of crap, you still eat like shit. How can you expect steroids to solve all them problems without, in a decade's time, creating a whole list of new problems? And that's without me mentioning the dependence on this new thing, this new synthetic hormones. So it's got an appeal, but it is absolutely stupid, and there is only a very rare scenario in which I would actually advise it. Low versus high. So we've got Mr. Bad Genetics, and we have the opposite. Going back to this guy, because you may be this individual. If you take your clothes off, put some tight white shorts on, are you this person? Because if you are this person, this video is for you. And if you know somebody who is this person, then you need to send them this video. Because they need to realise that they have low testosterone levels and that they can do something about it. Next thing I'm going to talk about is what are the 4 things which destroy your testosterone more than anything else. Does that sound alright to you? Gentlemen, I post every single day on YouTube educational content like this. If you enjoy it and you love the educational content that I produce and my dry personality, then feel free to subscribe to the channel. It helps me out massively. Comments down below and all that good stuff. I'm active. I reply to the comments. And if you want a little bit more of a one-to-one conversation, jump on my Instagram page at paulgreenbjj, and we can have a chin wag there if you prefer that platform. However, YouTube is my priority at the moment, so this is where I will be on and continue to be. So, story for you. I used to work with a lad, Wilco, and his body could not produce testosterone, and he was really in a bad way, and he was going to get kicked out of the army because his testosterone levels were too low, and it was destroying his mood, and it was making him extremely tired. He was constantly, it felt like he was ill. Like, he looked like he was ill. He looked like a bag of shit. Like, you look at this guy's skin complexion here. Yeah, he's fat. He's fat and miserable, but he's actually got quite a good skin complexion. My mate, grey. Like, proper white grey skin. I wouldn't say weak bones. So some of his symptoms, he had strong bones, strong muscles, he had barely any body fat. But then we used to torture him. We used to say, we'll go away. The only reason you look like that, the only reason you're strong, because you take gear. He used to get issued from the doctors, he used to get steroids. And he'd get steroids to top him up to the level every 3 months. But the problem is that would work for about 4 weeks to 6 weeks. And then for another 6 weeks, all of these would start creeping in. So he'd have 6 weeks good, 6 weeks bad. I'm fortunate enough to see my mate with really high testosterone and what that does to his soul. Right? Good mood, really positive mood, positive mental attitude, wants to get shit done, helps out the team massively. High energy, high octane individual. Again, cognition, brain power, muscle mass, fat gain, sex drive. Obviously I can't comment on sex drive because I'm not his missus. And then 6 weeks later, all of these started to drop off a cliff. And the difference was ridiculous, honestly. So I've been fortunate enough to experience this, like work with him. Really high, then really low. I've seen it. So you can probably imagine what high actually looks like. And high is not a bad thing. Contrary to what the mainstream media would have you think. I've already touched on why people take it and why synthetic testosterone has its appeal. People that like shortcuts, idiots, that are lazy, that haven't got a clue how to train, haven't got a clue how to eat, they will take testosterone because they want to get an erection to please their missus. Nah, pathetic, absolutely pathetic, low intelligence solutions. So, what is actually destroying your testosterone? You're not going to be happy with these answers, by the way. I'll tell you that for free. You are not going to be happy with what's to come. Sugar. Before I mention sugar and talk about I've got an article on sugar here, and it basically goes into the actual facts about sugar consumption and testosterone levels. I question your mindset before you consume some sugar. Are you thinking about consuming some sugar from a logical mindset, or are you thinking about consuming some sugar, cakes, biscuits, sweets, fruit juice, Coca-Cola, from an emotional mindset? So before you have even consumed the sugary food, you're already in a low testosterone mindset. Crazy, isn't it? So you haven't even consumed it yet, but you're already in a feminine frame of mind, an emotionally driven, emotionally charged frame of mind. Why do these foods come up? These foods are unbelievable for your hormones. They give you a sudden hit. Anyway, so there's a study, 74 men, varying ages, 19 to 74 year old, and they done an oral glucose tolerance test. They took 75 grams of glucose, and then their total testosterone was measured. The results, 57% of the men had normal glucose tolerance. Blah, 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 I'm not bothered about the glucose tolerance. Glucose ingestion was associated with a 25% decrease in testosterone levels. And the testosterone levels remain suppressed. So, to the conclusions, glucose ingestion induces a significant reduction in total and free testosterone levels in men. There's two different types. One are in your blood, one are actually in your bowels. Which is similar across the spectrum of glucose tolerance. So it doesn't really matter if you're intolerant to glucose or not. It still affects your testosterone levels the same. So this decrease in testosterone appears to be of a direct testicular defect. I'm going to go back to the slides. So, sugar. How do we avoid sugar? Well, same as before. Planning. Meal prep. The reason we go for these, it's like a drug. These are like drugs. They are extremely accessible, and they give us an instantaneous lift. Refined carbohydrates, lots of sugar. Within seconds, we can get a feeling of euphoria and dopamine. And they taste amazing, by the way. Anyway, next one, alcohol. How many of you drink? How many of you drink, every day or once a week? How much do you drink? One on alcohol. From my experience, I've noticed when men drink alcohol, they start to act more feminine. When women drink alcohol, they start to act more masculine. And I'm talking not just after a couple. After a couple, there's not really much noticeable change. But when you've had a serious amount of alcohol, I'm talking an excess of alcohol, when you are properly intoxicated, extreme happiness, extreme sadness, crying, telling your mates you love them, I love you. This is a real thing. Men do this all the time. And to add to that, the standard of erection that you produce is absolutely pathetic. Flip that on its head. Women, when they drink alcohol, become more horny. They become more testosterone. That increases their testosterone, and it increases men's estrogen. And women act more manly. They swear. They act more blokey. They're a bit more loud. They're a bit more boisterous, and they're more horny. We act more confident, but we're actually less sexually competent, should I say. Effects of alcohol administration on the sex hormone metabolism of men. So we have 4 weeks. Alcohol was administered to normal male volunteers, resulting in an initial dampening of the episodic burst of testosterone secretion, followed by decreases in both mean plasma concentration and the production rate of testosterone. The volunteers received adequate nutrition throughout and none lost weight, which tended to exclude a nutritional disturbance as to the cause of the testosterone levels. Make sense? So alcohol, you probably guessed it. Anyway, next one. And the big one. Carbohydrates. And when I say carbohydrates, I don't mean carbs, I just mean the loose term of carbs. This is what everybody thinks is carbs. But what I mean by this is grains. I mean foods that contain grains, whether that's flour, wheat flour, white flour, rye flour, any of these types of things, right? Look at the first ingredient on a loaf of bread. If you can't eat that first ingredient by itself without having huge stomach cramps, then that thing is poison. It's like, and I know you're probably thinking, who the fuck are you talking to? I eat all this all my life. Alright, yeah, I know, you probably do. Right? But it's no joke. Literally, if you cannot eat the first ingredient on the packet by itself without throwing up, then what are you doing eating it? Right? Let's go through these, right? So whole wheat flour, white flour, rice. Probably whole wheat flour, again, first ingredient. White flour, corn. I can't remember what crisps are. I think that's oats. Oh no, it's not. Yeah, it might be oats anyway. And then white flour. White flour is bleached. Wheat flour just looks better and it's more accessible and enjoyable for people because, I don't know, they like white things. There's not much difference between these two. There's a tiny difference in fibre. This is not healthier than this. However, what I will say to save your frigging morale and stop you from clicking off this video is that carbs are completely necessary in your quest to train fucking hard. Carbs around your training session are a complete necessity to fuel high performance in the gym. However, that's it. There is no other requirement for carbs to be in part of your day-to-day lifestyle. Why do you need a muffin? Why do you need a slice of bread? Why are you eating a slice of bread? Why are you eating a tortilla? If it is not close to your training session, or after your training session, it is not required. Done. Another cheeky one, men, is mint. And this absolutely destroys your testosterone. Herbal tea, significant anti-androgen effects, and ovarian as well. Okay, so we have 41 of 42 patients completed this study. Free and total testosterone levels were significantly reduced over the 30-day period in the spearmint tea group, opposed to the herbal tea placebo. Back to it. I'll put the carbs one in the description. I'll put all these studies in the description as well. You can check them out. Action plan: get your hormone profiles checked out, men. You can either do a blood test if that's not your cup of tea, as the English say. Speaking of tea, I've got some weird mushroom tea. Getting on the mushrooms. Get your hormone profiles checked out. You can either do a DNA test, which is a swab. It'll come back and it'll have all your hormone breakdown for you to look over and realise where you sit with regards to your testosterone levels and your estrogen levels. Both are really important. One on that. There's a lot of these foods, right? And if you were to search them on Google and say, does bread decrease my testosterone? It may not decrease your testosterone levels. However, what it will do is increase your estrogen levels. And a terribly messed up testosterone to estrogen balance, T to E ratio, will cause issues. It costs a couple of £100, right? 150, 200 quid, sometimes a little bit more than that, 300 quid. The main actionable point, if you're really thinking about this, right, get rid of mint, simple as that, right? And also, it sounds stupid, right, but some of your toothpaste might contain mint as well. Have a look, get rid of them. Carbs, alcohol, sugar. Is it really that much to ask to get rid of them or really limit them? And the way you do it is by preparing your food. Gentlemen, a little bit of a dive into testosterone. Testosterone is the male life force. It is what drives us to get shit done. If you don't want to do anything, then continue doing all this. If you don't have ambition, you don't have goals, you do not require motivation for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years of your life, you do not want to have a good sex life, you do not want to look absolutely unbelievably filled with muscle, less body fat, less like a woman, then start making these changes. Because testosterone is the most important thing we have. And if you continue on this path, may end up being this guy. Gentlemen, if you made it this far in the video, thank you very much for sticking around. Hopefully it was a little bit of an eye-opener for you, and if it was, share it with a mate that is suffering from this stuff, because I tell you what, I know a few, and they watch this video. I know they'll be watching this video, and I know they're going to be laughing at me, looking at them in the eye and saying, get a frigging grip. Honestly, lads, there's no excuses. This is temporary. It's not permanent. You're still young. You've still got over half of your life to live. Why have you already accepted looking like this and feeling like this? What are you playing at? See you tomorrow.